Okay, hi. So my name is Yael. I'm an educational counselor. I specialize in family therapy, and I'm a doctoral student for the moment. My research is about families and Aliyah. I actually want to say that each time again, when I present whatever I'm going to present here, it's actually a piece of my Zionistic dream come true. I myself, as you can hear, I don't have not an American and not an English accent. I've made Aliyah with my children, 7 children and husband, 10 years ago from Belgium. I came and it was a dream that came true for us because we really are very Zionistic and we wanted to be part of this country. But actually, once we arrived, I didn't expect that the adjustment journey would be challenging for me as an individual that had left a very rich career in Belgium. And I've also seen my children, and some of them, specifically more my teenagers, they didn't have an easy time. And I promised myself that the day I will feel more settled, I'll go back to university and I will build up a parenting model and a supportive model in the psychological educational field. And I'll come out with this to education and whoever's busy with Olim. And yes, and this is what I'm doing today, partly, besides being also having a clinic and as a family therapist. But I'm very, very pleased that you're part of this today. So every situation in life has an advantage. We were meant to be many more, and we ended up being, I see only two of you and me, and it's a privilege, but you can feel free. We're going to make it also into a dialogue. Anything you want to ask, just go for it. The knowledge I'm giving you today is really strength. The more you know before you come, my field is what your eyes can't see, and it's more a direction that people don't think of, because when you come, you automatically look for where am I going to live, from what am I going to live, a lot of practical papers, insurances, all that is very, very important. But I come in to what the eye doesn't see. Everything that has to do with the psychological and educational part of making Aliyah. So, okay, being a parent is actually universal in the universe. It's about being connected to our children, and it's also about keeping my authority as a parent. Now, we can discuss this in length. For everybody, authority is something else, and it doesn't matter what it means for you, Benny, for you, Carl, for you, Mayan, or for me. It just means that we want to stay closely connected to our children, and we want to have the privilege to be their guiding line, to be the ones that they are following and still have a say in their lives. What I'm doing actually is helping you to navigate through a life-changing experience. Immigrating or making Aliyah is a life-changing experience. Your children were born into a home with a certain culture and a certain habits and behavior. And when you're going and immigrating into another country, it's called a life-changing experience. And when we are confronting a life-changing experience, we need to readjust ourselves. Not only our children are going to need to adjust ourselves, but we also need to adjust ourselves. And it's about that I want to talk today. I call my parenting sessions for Olim one step ahead. One step ahead is the best way to keep your authority and to stay connected, because it gives you it gives your child a secure feeling. When you as a parent, you know what's going on, and you understand more of the culture, and you do this homework before you come, the child has a feeling of security. I can lean on my parent. It's all new for us, but my parents know more than what I know, and therefore they can support me, which is extremely important. We know that if we are one step ahead as a parent, it reduces our kids' anxiety. We know that changes could elevate our children's anxiety, even our anxiety. But if we know more, and that's the purpose of all this lecture here, is not to scare you. It's just the opposite. The more you know, it reduces your own anxiety. The more your anxiety is lower, your kids can lean on you. Their anxiety goes down, and it gives them a secure feeling. The more I know, the more I have knowledge about what's going to happen in my inner world, the more I am one step ahead as a parent. I won't get shocked. I won't get scared. I will actually respect our inner processes. So that's being one step ahead. What do I mean by being one step ahead? So I want to be one step ahead in my emotional level. It doesn't mean that things will be easy for me, but I want to understand what's going on in me. I want to give it words and understanding so I can help myself as a parent. If I will be stronger, my kids will be stronger. And again, I'll be able to support them. I want to be one step ahead in knowledge. Take the example of language. I won't give up on learning the new language of the new country, which I'm going into, because it's important to know at least as much as my children. I want to be one step ahead in my parenting style. I want to understand about Israeli parenting. It doesn't mean I have to agree on all of it, but I want to know. All this knowledge is giving me strength. All this strength is actually supporting my authority and my connection towards my children. Am I being clear? Is this okay?
Yeah, it's good.
So let's start with basics. So, Carl, I've heard that last year you have done a pilot trip with your family. A pilot trip is very important because a pilot trip means that you bring your family into the country where you want to immigrate in. And it's seeing where you go, your eyes see, you get a feeling of, you understand about the Rakevet Akala, the trains, the routes, and whatever it is. It's very important. But we cannot always give a whole family a pilot trip. It's sometimes far, it's sometimes very expensive. So we can also trade it into an imaginary one, which means don't give it up. Our children need to know where they're heading. They need to know a bit about the language, about the culture, about a little bit of politically, not the bad sides, but what's going on, about the mentality, about how, which is the capital of the country, about Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and the desert and the sea, and pictures. If you already know in which school they're gonna go, they should know about the school. Today, the world is very small. You could go on internet, show them pictures, show them the school area. The more they will know before they come, again, it gives them a feeling of security. And security is very, very important. Again, it reduces anxiety and it allows them to taste of everything that is new. I want to put down the first tool. You're going to see the slide at least 3 times. Communication, communication, communication. Things are going to happen while you move to Israel. There's a lot of changes going on physically, mentally, emotionally, and we don't have another tool than communicate. And we need to keep the channels of a communication open because this is the only way we could know what's happening in our inside world, and we'll see soon why this is so important. So let's understand our inner processes. I want to discuss something which is actually quite fascinating. The research report is a well-known researcher, and he's called Berry. Berry actually has invented a term, and the term is called acculturation. Acculturation is a psychological adaptation of a person that moves from one country to the other country. It's a term that not many people know, and it's a journey on itself. Barry says that there are 4 different inner trips that a person will go on while he's moving to a new culture. Now, what I'm saying now is not discussed. These are not things that we are aware of now, because we're sitting here with me in this imaginary room. You will know about these 4 paths of acculturation, psychological adjustment. And once you know, you will be able to communicate them. And it's very important, you should know, because a person doesn't choose its inner acculturation path. It is something that happens in the subconscious. So let's discuss the 4 different paths of acculturations. Before I give this explanation, I'd like to ask you something. Benny, how many children do you have?
That are making Aliyah with me?
Sorry?
How many
Yeah.
children are making Aliyah with me? 4 children.
So you are your wife, you, and 4 children.
Yeah.
Nice. Carl, where's Carl? I can't see everybody at the same moment. Carl, how many are you to come?
3, 16, 20, and 24. But my eldest son is doing it on his own, yeah. God willing.
And you coming with your partner?
Ken, yeah.
So that makes 5 people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Alexander, if I may ask, you came alone or you came with a family?
I came with a family with 1 child, 10 years.
So you have a partner and a child?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, perfect. So I just want you to keep your eyes open. If there are 4 possibilities without knowing, you're going to go on a certain inner psychological path of adjustment. It's not forever. We will move and shift from one path to the other. But as soon as you come with a family, let's say Benny comes with 6. So he could have, if he's not going to discuss it or if he won't be aware of it, every member could go on a different path. And Carl, same to you. 5 people. It doesn't mean you're going to adjust all in the same way. Same Alexander, it's enough that you come in with the partner and you, and maybe the child is younger. So usually younger children will adjust easier. The partners are not always on the same path. If I think of my personal story, my husband had a much easier adjustment than me. So let's go into these 4 paths. And again, these things are not chosen. It's inner processes, and we're going to explain why this happens, and we're not aware of it. But today you're going to be aware of it. And as I said, you're going to be able to communicate it, and so you're going to keep your family strong together by communicating your inner world. So what are the 4 paths? The first one is when somebody comes into Israel. Let's say somebody comes from Belgium to Israel, and straight away he feels that everything in this country is much, much better than in Belgium, for instance, in my past identity. And he wants to forget about the past and just be Israeli. This is called assimilation. Take somebody that comes from the United States. Let's say Jonathan is coming from the United States, and he is on the path of separation, which means he's coming from New York to Israel. He doesn't adjust at all. He thinks that in New York, everything was better, and he doesn't want to taste or open up to the new culture. Think of Mary. Mary came from Moscow, and she came to Israel, and she wanted very much to leave Moscow. And once she arrived to Israel, she doesn't want Moscow anymore, and she doesn't adjust to Israel. She doesn't like this and she doesn't like that. It's actually a bit being depressive because you feel you nowhere anymore. You don't like it here, and you can't go back there, and you didn't like it there. So that's called marginalization. So that's the third part. And then there's the fourth part, which is the ideal part, which is called integration. Usually this path never happens straight away. Integration is that you are able to keep your core identity. I wish it upon all of you. And I can tell you about myself. I am still Belgian, and I cherish it. And it's very good to know from where I come. It's my identity. I have habits in my home of my past culture. But together with that, I love certain things from Israel. So I'm going to keep my past and open up to the new culture. And that's called integration. Now, these four paths are moving. You could start, for instance, like this, and slowly go to this, and then to that, and then to this. These are inner processes which usually we're not aware of. And it's very rare that in one family, everybody is on the same inner path. And it's perfectly fine to go through the stages. But what have we said before? We have said that we need to communicate. That it's perfectly fine to feel homesick, but we should be able to discuss it. Sometimes we feel that a parent is also homesick, and because it's too painful, and a child says, I wish we hadn't left. So you say, oh no, everything is so much better here. I'm sure you don't miss it. We should allow it to be. If a child says, I regret I came, it might hurt. But because I'm one step ahead and I understand this, I will tell the child, wow, you miss it very much over there. What do you miss exactly? We allow them to be in that homesick place. Together with that, we open up nice moments of the new culture slowly to get adjusted. We don't force anything. We allow people to be in their inner process. We communicate it. And together we hope that slowly but surely, and it takes time. Sometimes it takes a lot of time because it's about an identity. But we respect that we are in different positions. I can tell you, in between my husband and me, my husband, he wasn't even in integration. He was completely, he landed and he said, I love it, everything is better here. And I wanted only to go back. And today I understand that we could have respected it more. I felt I couldn't speak my feelings, and he felt that, what's wrong? It's so good here. And some of my kids adjusted easily and other ones less. But we were all so busy with our own ways that we didn't discuss it. By discussing our inner path, we keep our family close together. If we don't discuss these things, we can draw apart, and we want to try to avoid it by communication. Now, anybody has something to say about that or ask?
I can share my experience. We came back. I'm an Israeli, okay, but I moved twice in my life. I moved first time when I was 9 years old to Ivory Coast, to Africa. And then I came back alone when I was 17, shocked completely by the culture that is my own country, from a French system, school system, education, to the barbarian. Here it was a big, big shock. And second time we moved when I was married with a baby, we moved to India and we lived there 11 years. And we just came back 6 years ago with 3 children. So my kids are Olim Chadashim completely. And I can tell you that although my kids wanted to come back home, my little one, she was 5, she picked the way of closing completely, like really putting a wall, and she refused to talk to anyone from India, including her nanny, who used to call me every day crying. After 1 month, I told her, Gayatri, I really loved you, and believe me, I miss you more than you miss me, but please don't do it. I mean, I cannot bear it, you know? And she refused to speak English. She refused to talk to anyone from there. And that was her way to deal with the change and to be integrated as much as she could to the kindergarten, to the new language, we spoke Hebrew at home, but everything she learned was in English, the colors, you know, the names of fruits and vegetables, simple stuff, right? So, and in the other hand, my two boys were a little bit older. They were absolutely okay, trying to integrate. And for us, the couple, I was very happy, although I worked hard, and my husband was in depress. He said, why we came back? Why we did it, you know?
So you are giving me a very clear example of everybody is in another path.
But we spoke about it. And that's the secret, to speak about it and to let it be. I mean, you cannot.
Let it be.
Exactly.
And also, I want to, Marianne, thank you so much. I couldn't have a better illustration of that. And yours was shorter because you have 3 kids. If I would have to say my 7 ones, it would be much too long. But I want to say that what I'm sharing here is all research-based. And I didn't come to share this to scare you. I thought just the opposite, to tell you that this is normal and that the different path that we're going to be on it, it's probably natural that not everybody's going to be on the same inner psychological trip of adjustment, and it's perfectly fine. We just have to be open to communicate it, and the more you know about it, the more it's not going to shock you. These are stages, and it needs time. And we need to respect, have a look. Corbin, an immigration and worldwide researcher, said that culture lives in us until 4 generations. So if you come, and maybe your children, the younger one, will adjust faster than you, that's fine, but they will still carry within them symbols and behaviors from Australia, from South Africa, from Belarus, and that is beautiful. Mm-hmm. We don't want to erase it. We want to keep these touches in our family because we have to respect it. It stays in us for a very long time, and it's fine. So there should be no stress. You have to be happy. No stress. You can't miss it or regret. No stress to become Israeli. We just have to respect our inner processes, and we have to communicate them. Is there any questions here from somebody? Anybody wants to say something?
Hi, I know I'm going to ask a vague question. What cultural differences should I be aware of and when integrating into Israeli society? I know the language, yes, that's one of it. Are there different cultural differences? Say, for instance, I know I've experienced the Mona's culture, and a little bit of in Hadera and Yerushalayim, but that was just a speck of it. So, what differences can I expect?
So I will, you know what, I'm going to answer according to your questions. I'm going to go through this according to what you, first of all, the culture goes into, I don't know if for any of you Zionistic or religion is important. So I want to tell you that being religious or even not religious, even just connected to God outside of Israel and in Israel is very different. In this country, things are much more, being outside of Israel, and this is all research-based, is more, we are Jewish, so we keep together. And the individual differences of how I'm connected to my Jewish life is less important. In Israel, things are much more or white or black or gray in boxes. So whoever wants to know more of that, you could always ask my mail or my number and WhatsApp me. For whom this is important, you should be aware that this is all the spirituality outside of Israel and inside of Israel is lived in a different way. And it's quite important for the school choices. So I don't want to go into this in length because I don't know if it interests you. I'm going to give a few slides and then you're going to tell me what's important and not. Yes, so that I said. Now this is Carl answer for you, Benny. I guess you also have children from these ages, and it's quite important. These are cultural differences, which are research-based. So one, and I had this all with my own children growing up and being born all in Europe. Here, the time of children spent outside of the house and feeling free. By the way, Israel is the country of children. I've never seen miserable children in this country. Yes, they're kings and queens, but a lot is outside. There's much more, less fear, and it's hot, and everything it's very, very much geared to the outside. So the leisure and the time spent out of the house, also without parental supervision. I want you to hear that. Without parental supervision starts earlier than any other country that I think of for various reasons. It's very interesting. On one hand, Israel has a big security issue, but that's on the national level. But in the daily life, it's much more feeling of security. So the outside is much more open, and that is a cultural difference. You should know. One, there's something quite interesting also, all research-based, that we as Olim, we very much want to come to Israel, and it's a beautiful goal. Many Israelis think that being out of Israel is wonderful. They love traveling out of the country, so that's interesting. I remember I came with my kids and I felt I was a hero. And then I was told, oh, you came, but it's so great to live in Europe. Why did you come? So that's also a paradox in between. But lately things have changed with the anti-Semitism. There's also cultural differences. There's a much bigger social involvement here. We much more involved in if there's something going on, let's say after the 7th of October, volunteering. The whole country is volunteering. Also, the children are volunteering. You're much more aware of politics. I don't know by you, but by me in Belgium, I knew nothing much of the political stories of my country. And here you're much more part of all of that, much more involved. We do see that many people that make Aliyah, that the parents still work with the hours of their original country, and the kids, they live here, and that creates a gap because the parents never integrate, because there's an area which I researched where most of the parents are their home and their office is still in their other country, and the kids, because of the leisure spent outside of the house, they're a lot outside, and it creates a gap. We have to stay aware to be involved in their lives, and somewhere we need to try to taste of that new culture as well, because we want to be part of their adjustment. So that's it. Interesting, research-based. If the grandparents of the children, it's not directly an answer, but many grandparents don't support their children and grandchildren Aliyah, and that makes it also more difficult to adjust over the phone. Why are you going? There's a war. It's a dangerous country. You should stay. So but the culture is, if you ask me specifically, also, people will tell you that the Israeli culture is more chutzpah. How do you say chutzpah? It's much more verbally allowed. Yes, kids are much
assertive.
Now, I don't. It's true. Israeli kids are outgoing, assertive. They speak out much quicker. European and out of Israel people are more refined. They think a minute before they say. They will say something different than what they sing. They'll be much more politically correct. In this country, what you see is what you get. And it's the nice side of it is that it's very warm and friendly and authentic in all directions. So it's more of a Middle East mentality, more spontaneous, more to the outside. Where you can, there's a party. You go to a parents meeting, you get coffee and cookies and kibud. Everything is more external, extrovert. There's a beautiful side to it, but it's different than a closed, protective environment. So that's a bit of that.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
Very quickly to your list. Also, the involvement of the community on the, as you said, the protection and education of your own children. So you will get, advice, comments, also help and support from other people around you. So that's another thing that needs to be considered, I think.
Shalom, Ariel. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Where are you from?
Yeah, exactly. Tell us a little bit about you, please.
I met Aliyah 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
From California. I am originally from Mexico, and I live in Ranana.
Oh, we are neighbors. You know Gvahim is in Ranana, yes?
I live just behind Gvahim.
Okay. Oh, okay, great. I will add, if it's okay, Yael, a few things that as we said here, with the Israeli, always you will find someone who will say something about everything, okay? But it's come from a place, but it's come from...
I want to ask Ariel, he's already 10 years in Israel, and why are you
here now?
Participating here in this?
Wow, that's a good question, Alexander.
So the simple answer is that parenting involves different stages depending on the age of the child. So when we came here and we had little 5-year-old and baby, that was one stage. Now we're going through a different stage, which is teenagehood, and we have different challenges and questions, and we would like to hear from experts what is the appropriate thing to do when you are in Israel as a parent of a teenager, because we only have the context and the experience from living abroad, and we see that here, as it was said, there's a lot of freedom and a different way of doing things in terms of the liberties given to the children, and we are now having a how do you say this, like polemic to decide how much liberty we need to give to our son who's asking to do things based on what he sees around, and we are refusing to adapt in what he's asking. So we want to know what's the correct thing to do. I don't know if that answers your question.
That's a very good answer. 1 minute, Carl. I think this could also be something which is interesting for you. So I'm going to answer this question if this is okay. So I think, Ariel, you are touching a subject which is a subject for any teenage parent around the globe. And specifically for when you make Aliyah with a different culture, I have to divide it in two. The job of our teenagers is to push off our boundaries. This is where they created. They want to push our boundaries. When we say no, they say yes. The job of us as parents, and that's very important, and it's beautiful that after 10 years you want to ask yourself that question, is okay, so he wants to push the boundaries. Where do I allow and where am I being firm? So rule number one is clarity. As when you will be clear with your partners, or if you are alone standing, it doesn't matter. The clarity of a parent with himself or with herself or with themselves is already the first step. We lose a lot, as I said in my first, one of my first slides, it was about connection and authority. One, I don't want to lose connection with my teens. I have to stay close to them. I have to. Two, but I'm the parent. I don't have to allow everything. But if I'm not clear with myself, they will push more because they feel that we are uncertain. So no matter what you will decide, when it's a decision made with the parents together, you don't have to shout it. You can be very sweet and kind, but it has to be clear. So here comes the question, and the answer will not be the same for you, Ariel, as for Carl or for Benny, because we all will have different limits and borders. Now, I will give you a tip. With teenagers and bichlal in education, the best way is always to think, what do I want to allow them? Instead of what do I don't want to allow them? You understand what I'm saying? Let's take an example. There is a masiba, there is a party, and it's in a home of a parent that you know, okay? So you could make it as a rule, okay, it's in a house of people I know. I trust them. It must be, maybe it's a bit late, but I can say yes to that, okay? You will always screen the situations and start with saying, when you can say yes, you give it to them from all your heart. Oh, that's great. Josh is having a party and I know it's far later than what I would want, mom and I, but you know what? It's by people we know, and it's under a certain supervision. Go and have fun. You need to first think what you want to allow and give it to them with all your heart. So it's not always no, 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 no. You understand? Then, as I said, we must also stay authentic to my culture and to what I believe is too far and too much. And you can say no, but you always start with screening. Where can I say yes and make it as a rule of yes? Yes, sure, you can go, but I'll pick you up at 11. I wrap it up. We always call it smigim shel gumi. It's like a car that has wheels. How do you call it?
Wheels.
Yes. The wheels of a car are very strong, but they have movement. Rules towards teenage kids, they have to be strong and clear, but there should be movement. The movement is my connection to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to shout my rules. I say it softly because I'm clear. I first try to find my yes, and when it's a no, I stick to my no, and I don't have to shout my no. I can be very relaxed and say, I understand you want to go. It seems wonderful, but that seems too much for us, sweetie. That's a no. Without shouting, but it's a fuch al hafuch. Try to think where you can open and allow it mekol halev. Because if everything will be like, oh, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, so they push, and they feel suffocating. Where you can give mekol halev and mekol hanshama. And when it's a no, זה נקרא צמיגים של גומי. It's like very clear, but it doesn't have to be said in a stern way because I want the connection. I don't want to lose my connection with them, but they need to hear a no, because this authority gives them the feeling I can lean on you, and it reduces anxiety. So I hope I was clear. I'm trying that, and Carl will have to do this in his home, and Benny in his home, and you in your home. But I think it's a perfect example of what I was trying to convey. We have to stay truthful to ourselves, even in a new country. We cannot come in a new country and say everything here is dangerous. No, we cannot say, I want everything at once. No, we have to do gam vegam. Open up where you can, allow it, support it, be part of it. If you don't know what they're talking about, because it's different leisures than what you grew up to say, wow, I'd like to see, I'd like to hear, maybe you be part of it. But when it's a no, stay softly and firm into a no, and stay authentic to who you are.
Can I give a very quick example, a real one, maybe for Ariel or for Carl it will be, you know, one of the of the sentences that my older one, that he will be 18 soon, said to me a few years ago, Mommy, this is not like India, you know, this is open country. You don't know how to educate a teenager in Israel. He tells me, right? Now, from the age of 13, 14, here, Mommy, I want a bicycle, electrical bike. I said, no way, on my dead body, no. Yeah, but all my friends. I said, okay, how many friends? 3, 4, 5. Ariel is laughing because I think he understands. I said, listen to me, Oz, this is very simple, I told him. Me and Daddy are people of law. According to the law in Israel, it's up to 6, it's from 16 years old with a theory. Now, I really don't care what your friends' parents are doing, even if one of them is a lawyer. I really don't give, I don't care. And the answer will be no. So you can keep asking me and the answer will be the same. And we did it. When he was 16 and a half, still, I told him, first theory, then you will get it. Okay? And only by 17, just before he started with the car, he bought from his money, okay, the bicycle, which I was scared. I was really scared, but I told him, those are the rules. And he made them. He reached the age. And so we had to allow him. Now, my second one, he's 13. Mommy, now he's going to the army. I want his bike. I said, no. We stick it with your oldest brother. We stick it with yours. Yeah, but all my friends. I don't care. So there is a lot of pressure from the society. It's a lot of pressure from the friends. And as Yael said to you guys, you need first to choose or to decide what you are stick with, what is absolutely no, and find the ways to allow other things. And I can tell you, I'm there, okay? I'm there. It's not easy at all, but we have to. We need to protect our children, okay? And they need to know that there are rules, and it's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm. I agree with everything that was said, and I relate completely. It's like real life examples.
Yes.
I just want to add that, in my opinion, this country is not the same country
10 years
where
ago.
the parents grew up. The Israeli parents grew up, so they are sometimes unaware of, you know, the risks and the rules and the needs of this modern society that's not a kibbutz anymore, like the one where they grew up. So I see a lot of permissivity, like, you know, as you said, the parents are allowing things that are dangerous and unacceptable because the reality is different from what they know, and they think they can rely on, you know, the neighbor to take care of, or the kids to go out on the streets at any time at night. But it's not the same streets, it's not the same friends, it's not the same environment. So that's
You're
something.
right, you're right. I will give you an example of, by us in Europe, there wasn't such a thing that you go to sleep here and there and there and here by friends. it wasn't such a thing in the vacation sometimes, yes, but not when there was school life. I grew up in a society, it was like the army. You go to school in the morning, you come back, and unless you have 40 fever, you go to school. Yes, it's I grew up like that, and it's very strong in me. And my husband grew up in Belgium too. And I must tell you one thing, my kids went to school, and and they used to tell me, my neighbor, my friend, my this, can I sleep here? Can I sleep there? I made it a clear rule. Everybody has a bed. You sleep in your own bed. When it's vacation, we can discuss it. But it was so clear that one time she asked me, and I had a wedding, and I came, I said, you know what? Maybe she said, what's wrong with you? It's not vacation. Like, how am I allowing this? Yeah. So I said, in every rule, there's an exception once, but they need this clarity. They need it. It's a taste of home. And they will grow up, my older kids, they make fun of us. All Israel, every second day they don't go to school, but Tanya Amiel's kids were the first ones to go and the last ones to stay. and I'm fine with this. So giving our children borders and limits is a beautiful quest as a human being, as a parent, because it makes me be clear with myself. What are my values? What are my beliefs? What am I standing for? It's much more than rules. It's a way of life. And I think it's fantastic when you have that clarity and you stick to them, and then you can give the rest with the open heart. You're a winner. You're a winner. And then I don't care about my neighbors. That's the touch that I want to give into my children's lives. So it's a beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
I have something in the reverse, though, because my children, I think, have got a lot of fear or anxiety, especially with the war, what's going on. And my brother, who has children who lives in Tiradasa, so one of his children doesn't want to go out of the house at all. So how much in the reverse do you do things like where you see that they're not getting involved or they're not integrating into society? Like, how much do you try and push them, especially if they're Olim Padashim and they're not integrating in, or they're scared to go outside, or, you know, they hear the first siren? You know, that's something that I'm very nervous about, is just how the kids are going to react when they hear their first siren. And then how do I teach them? How do I show that I'm not scared of it and that we just go to the shelter? Is there like a drill that we do or any of those things? So
it's about what we're doing here. It's about knowledge. We are not in the Far West, okay? We have rules, and very clear rules of what do you do when there is a siren. What is knowledge? Remember, we spoke, what I'm doing here is also giving you knowledge. All what is knowledge reduces anxiety. Not talking about things is wrong. Yes, we are a country. By the way, I want to tell you something. My research now that I've been doing the last part, I've been researching families during the war that had just made Aliyah. I must say that we didn't find a lot of anxiety going up by kids, the newcomers. Interesting. So that was something quite calming from my latest piece. But I want to tell you something. Our brain makes connections, okay? I will say what I'm saying. It's off record, but I'm going way due to psychology, so I'm always busy with that. And also Marianne, I can go on forever. You have to shut me down when it's over, yeah? Ben, are your children aware of the war? They speak about this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Good. So first of all, you should know that there are small sirtonim, small movies of the Mamash Misrad HaChinuch, I think maybe even in English, about rules. What do you do when there's a siren? How do you behave? Where do you go? Every place has a certain amount of minutes. Again, the more knowledge, you give them, the more they feel they can do something. When is there a lot of anxiety? When you feel helpless. So the opposite of helplessness is knowledge. So you have to breathe them in, stroll in on YouTube Kids. You could check it out, security rules in Azaka or Siren, they have it in cartoons. Show them. This is a country which is very developed with that. Second of all, I always say that you, I don't know where you're going to live, and you also don't know where you're going to live, yes? So you don't yet physically, but as soon as you know where you're going to live, you're going to show them where is the miklat, where do you go, show them how many minutes and time they have to go, and usually they can go twice up and down, no problem in Yerushalayim. But to create a fun connection, I always tell people, make a miklat kit, a siren kit, a bag, and in the bag, you have goodies, sweets, chocolate, crafts, books, and you put it in the miklat, or they take it with them. You create a family moment of your miklat togetherness. You understand what I'm saying? And then the kids in their brain create a connection of siren, fun. Siren, I know where it's safe. We have our little trolley, or it's over there. We open it up, and it's a family time. You don't stress over hysteria. You stress over, we know the rules. And if it is, and when we're there, we're having a quality, sweet time because we're safe. And we open up that bag, or this little purse, or this little misvada. We take out all the goodies and the books and a game. And that's it. It's all about how I convey to them. But Benny, if you are scared, this knowledge is also important for you.
Yeah.
There are ways to protect ourselves. I don't know the story about your niece in Sumagas. I don't know what happened over there. I don't know if she didn't have the information or something happened, but it's rare. Usually the kids are survivors. They just do what they have to do and they move on with life.
She still goes to school and things like that, but she doesn't want to go to friends' houses like she used to. She just doesn't want to go out of the house. She wants to be closer to home a lot more.
Okay, so I
So
wouldn't push it too much.
there was a bat mitzvah she didn't want to go to because it was closer to the south, and she didn't want to go. And my brothers told her, you should go. You'll be safe. You'll be fine. Like, tried to push her. And again, like with me, I don't know if I should be pushing the kids too much to go out
No,
if
I don't think in the beginning. I think you shouldn't push them in the beginning. You should be aware of their feelings, and it's a process. And honestly, yes, being closer to the south maybe brings more anxiety up. I wouldn't push so much. I would just fill in the daily life with normality.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay, I've got another question. It's basically something maybe more or less the same, it's not exactly the same. If I may, homesickness, how do you guys deal with that?
Time. And you're going to see that homesick is a big word. Some children or adults, because they're homesick, they don't want to be in contact with the country they're homesick of, and some only want to be in contact with. The golden rule is to allow. My focus would be on normal behavior in daily life. And next to this, there is place for homesick. We measure the ability of being able to live daily routine life. As long as this is there, it's fine. You can live daily life and feel homesick. It's a feeling. And if a child or adult is homesick, what do you do with this? And the doing is, some will want to be a lot in contact, some won't want to be in contact, and we allow them to grow go through this. It's a feeling. Now, especially because I guess we're going towards the end, I want to show you that slide here. It's a very important slide, Carl, also to your answer to your question. You're going to see that in schools, there's a lot of, they really try to give them ulpan and they should learn the language, and it's very important. But the research shows that what is number one success of adjustment is if our children have friends or social connections. We can be homesick, but yachad im zot, together with that, we should try to find them friends. Much more important than anybody else, anything else, research-based. If my child thinks that he's belonging even only with one friend, he's much better off than that's a basic milestone for success. So a lot should be invested in this. Go with your child to if you have a friend in Beersheba that has a child same age as yours, go to the Gina with them. Even before they come, they should Zoom and see friends of their age. Society is the first predictor for good adjustment.
Okay. Another question, if I may. I know we're running out of time. The ulpan, the ulpan that I will attend and my wife will attend, maybe in the age group, you understand, will obviously befit the whatever ulpan I'll be attending. But as for my 20-year-old son and 24-year-old son, and I don't think I want them to sit in the ulpan where I'm sitting, because obviously they can't connect with others, their own. I think it's important for them to connect with people their own ages. I know there's a kibbutz ulpan that they've got available as well for kids of their ages.
I'm not so aware of this.
So I'll tell you something, Carl. I'll tell you something. First of all, in the ulpanim, it's a mixed ages, okay? This is to begin with. I mean, you can find people around your age, and your son can find people around his age as well. Okay, it's hard to know in advance. This is one.
Okay.
Secondly, you will see that for him, he will try to integrate even through a job in the afternoon, or I don't know if he's having plans to go to the army, yes or no. So, he will find more ways to connect with his age, and you will see that his Hebrew will be faster than yours, obviously.
Yeah.
It's normal. So don't worry about that. If he's supposed to do the army and everything, so maybe there are some courses before the army, for Olim. So this is something that worth checking up. So, but in general, in the Ulpanim, it's really a mixed ages.
Okay. I just want to add something quickly. While living in Cape Town, we're more restrictive, in the sense of, they're not allowed to go out or anything like that. They've got the freedom to do it. But when we were in Israel, they were independent. We felt more at ease as parents, knowing that their safety is much more. We take it with great amount of pride, basically being there, and that's what we found. That was the comfort zone that we actually encountered, and they had the freedom to go anywhere without asking. It's important to ask, yes, but I also wanted them to experience it on their own. That's what I wanted to add.
No, I think that it's one of the bonuses of this country is the freedom, and that outside is part you can allow them to be. Together with that, you still have to be, as we said, one step ahead. Don't over exaggerate. Create, like Ariel said, your boundaries, because you want. Carl, we want to overcome a culture gap. you can allow them to be and allow them to enjoy that freedom within the limits. You don't want to lose your control and exaggerate in small bites. And also remember, the more they go loose out, they will adjust much quicker than you. So you want to keep that gap. You still want to be the authority and the connection. You don't want to be the outside ones to guide them. So it's fine. It's perfectly fine to enjoy what the country gives you. That's the beauty of being in Israel. But we're not losing the awareness that I have to know where they go, with whom they go, because you don't want them to come back with things that you don't understand what they're coming with from, so then you use again your authority. So as long as you give them that privilege and that fun of the openness and freedom, but you're still aware of where they are and who they are with, it's fine. But if you don't know where they're hanging out, that is for any parent, and specifically for an Olim parent where the culture is different, I should suggest that you still need to know. You understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
I will add a small thing that Yael spoke about it at the beginning, and really this is as a personal tip from experience. We as a parents, we as adults, really need to be careful not to compare, okay, what we had, because you cannot compare. If we compare, better to stay back there, okay? Israel is different, and you have made a decision, okay? Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's different, it's complicated, or it's easy. That's fine. But if you guys are not comparing, your children also will not compare. They will deal with the new thing, with the changes. They will cope with it. So this is my personal tip. I remember when Israeli people came to India and they were comparing all the time. And I said, guys, don't compare. You cannot compare. There are two different countries. It's okay. So yeah. So it's work vice versa as well.
Can I ask, is there any research about coming back to, like, if I wanted to come back to Australia with the kids, is there any research as to how long you should wait before you do that after you've made Aliyah?
There's no research about that, about how long you should wait, because as we spoke about these inner processes, they take time. And they take time because I haven't gone through the whole thing, but it has, because all this adjustment, I'll show you that one, is you see here you have a spine. The spine is the core of a person's being, it's his identity. When a person goes from one culture into the other culture, actually his identity is being reviewed, because it's holding on to what he was used to, and it's opening up to something new. And slowly it creates a new identity. And it's a very long process, and everybody in my family would have another tempo. This country has so much to give us, but to be able to enjoy what it has to give us, we need to have that patience. I was aching from, Carl, you said homesick. I was homesick in my core and in my bones. But today, pay me, I'm not going back. This is where my soul wants to be. But you can't jump certain bumps. It happens if you respect your process. It happens if you are not shocked of what you see. It's okay to enjoy certain things and to miss certain things. It's fine. It's okay to wonder if you made a mistake. It's fine, but now I'm here. So there's no research because it's a very individual thing. And is also a question I want to ask you. There's a very big question. Do you want to be Israeli or do you want to live in Israel? It's a very big philosophical question. I'm going to say this again. Do you want to be Israeli or do you want to live in Israel?
Yeah.
It's a question. Not all Olim want to be Israelis. Some want to be Israelis, some want only to live in Israel. It's so many questions, and just let it be. I think it's not a matter of months, it's a matter of at least 2-3 years. Usually things settle down, but it's worthwhile sticking it out. And sometimes you are surprised and things go much smoother than what you expected. And all what I said here was not to frighten you. Hafuch. It's to give you the knowledge and the awareness that making Aliyah is an inner, strong process of reviewing our identity. It's beautiful. And we are not obliged to choose. We can keep the beautiful churches of Australia, of Cape Town, of Belarus, of Mexico, and add touches of Israel, and that is beautiful. We don't have to choose. We can mix and mangle everything.
That's what makes Israel so special, because we have so many immigrants in the country and so many cultures. Okay, what is to be Israeli? Imagine so many olim during the years, so many cultures within us. So that's the beauty of the country, and we thank you for choosing Israel, and we thank you for being with us tonight. And I'm sure, not hope, I'm sure that each one of you took some tips from Yael. So really would like to thank you, and you are more than welcome to write. I wrote my email here. You will get a recording after, and
We get the slideshow as well.
Yael, the presentation usually was.
I tell you what it is. I went through, I think I have 60 slides here, and I didn't go into order. I went through my slides according to your questions.
Yes.
It was fine because I could try to pull together a little bit what we discussed, because if not, you won't know what it's all about. If it's a help for you, I try making something out of it. I am happy to, if you mail me or you WhatsApp me, if I could be any support in what the eyes don't see, but the heart feels. That's my field, and I was there, so I know. Remember, this was all done from my pains, okay? But you see, from pain you could grow, and you don't have to ache. As I tell you, my husband, he just fell into this country and he forgot he ever lived somewhere else. So it's a very personal thing. It's a very personal thing. But remember, there are no musts. The bringing together of ourselves and the new is the most healthiest, balanced adjustment. We don't have to choose. We can mix or we can mangle. And that's the beauty of a human being. And I think it releases a lot of pressure to know that. Last thing, please, I'm going to end with the last slide, and you see how many I still had. But we went exactly according to what was needed here. Take care of yourselves. I think that's a very important slide, and I want to end with this one. We are very involved in our children's well-being, and we do a lot for them. But for them to be good, we have to be good. And it's no shame to take care of ourselves and to ask ourselves sometimes, how am I doing? And if it's great, it's fine. And if it's not so great, reach out for help. Don't stay alone. Find company support. Be honest. Communicate. Be patient. Respect your inner processes. There are so many organizations. Or you know what? Write to me. made. There's so much you could do and you have to do for yourself, because if you are in tune with your own feelings, then you can be there for them. But if you are not, and you neglect yourself and you only think of their well-being, so who are they going to lean on? So respect your process and take care of yourself. It's a very important parenting tip.
There's a very good book called The Giving Tree. I don't know if you've
Yes, I know. Yeah,
exactly to that point.
right. It was wonderful to meet you. I think you're all brave and heroes. Come, come. It's a beautiful country.
Yes,
And Maya, you have my details.
of course, I will.
We had the privilege to be a small group and be able to have such a conversation. Really feel free to write.